Hi there, in this video we're going to look at how HTML is used to build the structure of a website. We'll use this rendered website here as a reference. We won't be building the complete site here, but we'll focus mainly on the HTML building blocks that are used. Now this site has an HTML header up here at the top, and that houses our logo here on the left and our navigation on the right. And just under it is our hero section with the big rendered text and the video. Down a little further, here is my intro section. Down from here, we've got our artwork on the left, okay, so art section, and on the right here is the artwork's description, okay, and the last but not least is the footer section down the bottom here. So let's go and look to recreate this ourselves in Dreamweaver. So here is the finished site we were just looking at. Now I'm up here in developer mode. I've also defined the site here in Dreamweaver to manage the files for this project. To follow along, you'll have to do the same. You can do it up here in Site, New Site. Now there is another tutorial video teaching you site definition if you need a bit of help with that. We're going to open up this HTML layout start. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a page title. Okay, every page needs a title. At the moment, by default, it's called untitled. We're going to call ours rendered. Okay, rendered. And what is the page title? The page title is used at the top of the browser, and Google uses it when it displays search results. Let's have a quick little look at this in a browser. So we're going to use the real-time browser preview, and you do that by going down the bottom right here. Okay, and we're going to use Google Chrome. And hey, we've got a page. Have we done anything? Oh, yes, we have. See up here, okay, where it says rendered. Okay, that's our page title. So well done us, we're on a roll. So now let's go and fix this big white page here by adding some HTML to our page. Great, so let's put in our first bit of HTML layout. And what we've got here are just some comments to help us understand where to put things. As long as they're within these commenting brackets here, they're ignored by the browser and just here for us humans to see. Okay, so what we're going to do is under the header comment, we're going to put a little tab in and we're going to type in our first bit of HTML layout. So open angle brackets, start typing head, and you can see before I even finished, Dreamweaver's got some lovely code hinting, okay? So it's kind of given me head or header. I want header in this case. Then I'm going to close it off with an angle bracket. Okay, so every tag needs an open and a close. So we've got the open. Let's put in the close. I'm going to put in an open angle brackets and then put in a /. You can see it pre-filled in the rest of it. Okay, so every layout tag in HTML has an open. Okay, and there's the header, and it has a close, and it's the same word, but it has a / in it. Okay, you can see my body has the same thing. There's the open of the body, and there's the close of it. Same with the head. Okay, the open and the / has the close of the head. Now, why are we using the header tag here? When you add tags like header, main, and footer, you're using predefined HTML5 tags that are used to define structural elements on our page. When building a site, we'll use a mix of these pre-made elements, then later on we'll go and create our own. Great, so let's jump back into real-time browser preview and check it out. So real-time browser preview is where we check our code in an actual browser. In this case, we're going to use Chrome. And there he is. That gray box up here is my header. Now the question is, how did he become this gray box? Normally, if you add a header tag here by itself, like we have here, the header element is invisible to the browser. Sneakily, I've already added some predefined CSS to make the header element visible to you here, just as a teaching aid. So let's jump into Dreamweaver to show you what I've done. So here is our header tag, and I want this tutorial to focus on the HTML5 layout elements. But every element, like our header here, needs to be told what to do. He needs to be told how big and what color. So we've already created a CSS sheet that styles them. Here it is here at the top here. Okay, I'm gonna click on it. And here is our header here, being told how high to be and what color to be. Now there's another video specifically about CSS styling. So we're gonna stick to the HTML5 layout elements for this video, okay? So let's jump back into source code. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to put my nav tag in, okay? So my header is the big block along the top, that semi-opaque black box, okay? And the nav is going to be in the top right. So what we're going to do is I want it to be inside of this header section. What you can do is you can put a return in, okay? And inside of here, we're going to type in nav. Okay, close it off and then open up angle brackets, and closing off a tag is / and pre-fills it in. Thank you, Dreamweaver. And nicely, we've got some CSS that already styles that nav so we can see it in our browser. So let's jump to our browser again. There we go. This is my nav tag. Okay, so this is my nav tag. It's inside of my header. Okay, and the CSS is making it go white. Great, so that's two really important HTML tags that we've added. Back to Dreamweaver. Now what I do as well is I put a bit of returns in just to break up some of these sections, just so I can see that this is my header, okay, and now my main content's gonna start. Okay, so this section, okay, like we did the header, so we're gonna open angle brackets, type in main, close them off, open angle brackets, / and Dreamweaver fills it in. Great, so there's my main section. Now the main section is gonna be quite large, so we're gonna put a return in. Now the first elements going into our main are that hero section, okay, the big green box with the video, and then we're gonna add the intro box, which is just a nice white box. So we're gonna use a tag called section to section off the different parts of my web page. Now a section tag is a predefined tag that already exists in HTML5, like the header and the main we've done already. Great, so let's type section, let's close it off. Now, if you're finding it a little bit tedious typing out all these brackets and slashes, I know I do, Dreamweaver can help speed up your workflow even more. So if I just type in section without all the angle brackets and / and then just hit tab, you can see it fills it all in for me. So even if you're new to this, it's a shortcut that really helps with your syntax as well. Just make sure you've got everything in the right spot. Lovely. I'm gonna have one section here for the hero box, and there's gonna be another section here. Okay, tab, not enter. Okay, and this section is going to be for my intro. Now the problem is if I style this section tag, and I want the top one to be green, the bottom one to be white, they're both called the same thing. So my CSS is gonna label them both green or both white. So what we do is we use something called a class to separate them. It's just a little bit of individuality that we get to create. Now, up until now, we've used predefined tags, okay? Header is always called header and nav is always called nav. What we're gonna do now is create something called a class. Okay, so I put a space after the word section, typed in class. You can see Dreamweaver's pre-filling it out, the little word class. So all I have to do is just click return on my keyboard, okay, and it fills in the rest of the syntax. Or you can type in the equals and the 2 quotation marks. Within these quotes, we get to name the class. This is where you get to give it your own unique name. Though up until now, we've always used predefined tags. The header is always called header, the nav is always called nav. Now what we're gonna do in this example is we're gonna use a unique word, we're gonna use hero, but you'll notice that hero is being pre-filled in. Now this is only because I've got a CSS sheet that I made earlier. Now remember we did our sneaky trick earlier where we just wanted to add some styling to those first tags. It's that CSS sheet where these names are being pulled now. When you're creating your own site, you'll create these class names yourself as you go. But because we've got the CSS sheet already made, we're going to use these ones. Thank you, hero. And that's the way I'm going to identify this first section. Okay, same down here with this class. I'm going to hit return, and this one here is going to be called intro. Great. Let's jump into the browser to check our results. Great. So we've got my header, okay, and that's that transparent black box showing through to the green underneath. There's my nav, and here is the big hero box. Okay, and underneath it is my nice white info box. Back to Dreamweaver. Okay, so let's do the artwork section now. Before we make it, let's have a quick little look at the final project just so we can understand the structure of this. Remember our header along the top, there's our nav, okay, there's the big hero box, there's my info box, and this section here is what we're up to now, artwork. There's gonna be 2 sections, this guy on the left, my artwork piece, and this is going to be my artwork description. Okay, so let's jump and do that now. Okay, so like before, I'm gonna put a return in, I'm gonna tab across, I'm gonna put in our section. And before we learned our lovely trick, remember, section, then hit tab, then we double back and we can put our class in, okay, we can put in artworks, okay, or what if there was a quicker, even better, easier way? Okay, there is. Okay, so if you type in section, and before you hit tab, put in a period, and then type in the class you wanna add. Artworks, then hit tab, look at that. All fills it in. So inside of the section, we're going to put in something called an article. So I'm going to open it up, put an article. Now, why am I putting in an article? An article is a tag that wraps around the most important content on the page. It is the guts of the page, okay? There's lots of other important sections that we've got and other tags we've got already, but they're repetitive stuff. Okay, so the article tag here, okay, I'm doing it the long way, needs class. I'm going to call this one class, and this one's going to have class of artwork. Okay, so that article tag here, everything inside of this is the really important stuff. Okay, and in our case, there's 2 bits. There is the artwork itself and then the artwork description. So now that we've got a section, we've got an article, okay, what goes next is something called a div tag. Okay, a div tag is a division of space, and it's used in instances like this where you've got a section, okay, you've used the article, you can't go back and start using sections again, or if you can't use 2 articles. So the div tag is a nice reusable wrapper tag that you can use in our case for the artwork and the artwork description. So this is going to be a div class of artwork piece. Now remember, this class name would be something unique that you'd create. It's pre-filled in here because of that CSS that we made earlier. Close it off. slash. And that's the left side of our website. Let's do the other piece. Okay, and let's put in a div class. And this one here is the artwork description. Great. Close it off. Lovely. Let's check it in our browser. Okay, there they are, my two little divs, artwork piece on the left and artwork description on the right. Now, one of the last HTML layout elements we're going to learn today is the figure tag. It's often used as a container for an image. So we're going to put in our artwork piece tag here, okay? So it's going to go inside of this guy where the image for our site's going to go. Okay, so it's called figure. There it is there. Okay, close it off. Now we'd put our image inside of this figure tag, and it allows some flexibility when you're working with one or more images that need to be captioned. You put them all inside this figure tag so the image and captions know that they're related to each other. This figure tag's being styled as well, so let's go check them in the browser. Great, and here's this light blue box there. Let's do the last thing, let's put it in our footer. Okay, and he's down here a little bit. There's my little bit of comment, okay, underneath. Okay, we're gonna use our trick footer and hit tab. Let's check them in the browser. Scroll down. Cool. And there's my footer. We're not going to add content in this case because we are just really focusing on these block level HTML5 layout elements, the big heavy stuff. So what might be interesting now would be maybe to pull off the pre-made CSS sheet we added just to see what the HTML looks like in a page without being told what to do by the CSS. Okay, so we've got this basic HTML and it's been styled by the CSS sheet. Let's say we didn't have the CSS sheet, okay, and you're just styling without it. Let's delete it and let's check it in the browser. And that is the exact same thing. The HTML is there, okay, but it's not being told what to do yet. So the structure's there, it just needs to be styled in the CSS. And remember, there's another video specifically about CSS styling. Let's turn the CSS back on quick. Great, so in this video, we've looked at the HTML5 layout elements, okay? We've looked at our header, our main, our footer, and we've divided those up into different sections. We've looked at the article tag, and lastly there, the figure tag. And that, my friends, is how you add HTML layout elements to a website. Well done us.